The sad soul is a poor actor Yoon Jae-sung who is currently having a tough time in his tiny apartment. Feeling all gloomy, he decided to burn his photos and end it all. But just when things seemed darkest, his grumpy landlady barged in, mad about the rent and the awful smell. So, after Yoon Jae-sung found a debt notice from his health insurance, he figured if he was going to check out, he might as well do it in a clean state. He went to a public bathhouse, thinking it was the perfect place for his final act. As he's scrubbing away, he notices a man named Choi Hyung-wook, a cool hitman who just come here to wash his bloodstains after killing a smelly guy, Hyung-wook washing up right next to him. He noticed that expensive watch on Hyung-wook's wrist. Just then, Hyung-wook has a little accident, slips on some soap and his head hits the floor. In the chaos, he loses his locker key. Jae-sung thinks about the treasures that might be in Hyung-wook's locker and decides to switch the keys. When the paramedic, Kang Rina, comes to rescue Hyung-wook, they end up taking him with Jae-sung's belongings. Jae-sung opens Hyung-wook's locker, and he is amazed. Expensive suits, shiny watches, the whole shebang. Feeling like he deserves a little luxury, he slips into one of Hyung-wook's fancy suits and takes a spin in his sleek car. He goes, driving around town, and he makes the first stop to his grumpy landlady. With Hyung-wook's stolen money, he pays off all his debts, making her a bit less furious. But Jae-sung doesn't stop there. He hits up every shop he owes money to, making things right with the cash he swiped. At last, he gathers it all up, stuffs it back into a bag, and decides to do the right thing. He goes to the hospital, ready to return everything he took. He sneaks into the hospital room, all set to swap his bag with Hyung-wook's while the guy is snoozing. Just then Hyung-wook wakes up. But he's got amnesia and thinks he's Jae-sung because that's the name on a health insurance letter they found. Fast forward, Hyung-wook is out of the hospital, feeling better but hit with a medical bill he can't afford. Lucky for him, enter Rina, the kind-hearted soul who brought him to the hospital before. She steps in, pays the bills, and even gives him a lift home. Once inside, Rina discovers the burnt photos clues that Hyung-wook was on the brink of something terrible. Being the good person she is, she tells him not to worry about paying her back and heads off to her job. Now, Hyung-wook's on a mission to rebuild his life. He jots down the few things he remembers about himself. But when he tries to chat with the neighbors, they all shut him down, especially when they find out he's the guy from the rooftop incident. Time passes, and when Rina pays another visit, she stumbles upon Hyung-wook in the midst of a coughing fit. Turns out he thought smoking was his thing because he found a bunch of cigarette butts lying around. Well, that assumption went wrong. Despite the confusion, he has figured out a couple of things about himself. He's got a knack for cleaning and handling a knife. Rina drags him over to her mom's little restaurant and convinces her to hire him. The family needs an extra hand because grandma's not well. Hyung-wook agrees to the job. So here's Jae-sung thinking he's hit the jackpot with Hyung-wook's amnesia. He decides to seize the opportunity to turn his life around by pretending to be Hyung-wook. He digs into Hyung-wook's life, finding the new address on the car's GPS and driving over there. As he snoops around, he finds some police uniforms in the closet, so naturally, he assumes Hyung-wook must be some kind of cop. Jae-sung turns on the TV only to find there are no channels, just a security camera feed spying on a gorgeous woman named Song Eun-ju doing yoga. Jae-sung decides to make the most of his newfound luxury life, indulging in a day of eating, drinking, and snoozing. His adventure takes an interesting turn when he stumbles upon a box full of cash. He also decides to grab a bottle of wine from Hyung-wook's collection. But when he pulls the right bottle, a secret room reveals itself behind the wall. It's like a spy den with weapons, fake IDs, phones, and a bunch of security cameras, all focused on Eun-ju. This discovery fuels Jae-sung's belief that Hyung-wook is definitely a cop, especially when he finds notes on Eun-ju revealing she's under witness protection. He decided to protect Eun-ju. As he watches the TV, he realizes that the sounds he hears from above match the rhythm of Eun-ju's exercise routine. Bingo! She lives right above him. Intrigued, he decides to be the friendly neighbor and visits her. But she simply shuts the door on him. Meanwhile, back at the restaurant, Hyung-wook is hitting the jackpot thanks to his impressive knife skills. He's whipping up dishes that not only taste fantastic but look like edible works of art. The beautiful presentation drew in a whole new crowd of customers to the restaurant. One evening, as Hyung-wook turns a fresh page on the calendar, he spots an appointment marked on the 25th. He decides to check it out, hoping it might shed some light on his own mysterious life. To his surprise, the appointment leads him to a meeting with producers who round up actors, mostly extras, for their shows. Despite the not-so-stellar performance, he gets paid at the end of the day. While glancing at the paperwork, he notices his name and an old address, Jae-sung's father's barbershop. Intrigued, he pays the old man a visit. However, the reunion isn't heartwarming. Instead, he overhears his father complaining about what a loser his son is. Hyung-wook, without revealing his true identity, leaves silently. He decides right then and there that he'll become a good actor to make his father proud. As the days unfold, Jae-sung begins a subtle pursuit of Eun-ju, trying to orchestrate chance encounters to make their interactions seem like mere coincidences. One day, while Eun-ju is visiting her mother at the hospital, Jae-sung notices a shadow from her past following her. In a quick move, he grabs her and whisks her away to his car, shielding her behind tinted windows. As time passes, a mysterious routine emerges. Every Thursday, Jae-sung observes Eun-ju taking a suitcase to the middle of the street, waiting as if anticipating someone's arrival. Strangely, nobody shows up, leaving both Jae-sung and Hyung-wook to ponder this curious occurrence. Meanwhile, Hyung-wook is busy working at the restaurant during the day. He dedicates his free time to honing his acting skills. On the other hand, Jae-sung continues his covert pursuit of Eun-ju. Their connection deepens and love begins to blossom between Jae-sung and Eun-ju. Later, Hyung-wook lands a gig as an extra in a gangster-themed TV show, playing the bodyguard of a notorious gang leader. Hyung-wook takes his role a tad too seriously, showcasing his impressive martial arts skills to protect the gang leader from all the scripted attackers. The director is impressed by Hyung-wook's skills. He's given a promotion to the gang leader's right-hand man. Hyung-wook's action scenes turn heads, gaining him popularity among the public and catching the eye of fans on the streets and even at the restaurant where Rina works. Seeing the potential, Rina decides to become Hyung-wook's agent. As his popularity soars, the writers decide to give Hyung-wook's character a bigger role. Now he is also involved in a dramatic affair with the gang leader's girlfriend. This development makes the main actor even more envious. When the day comes for his character to meet a dramatic end, the gang leader delivers a real punch instead of a fake one. Yet, Hyung-wook uses the unexpected hit to his advantage, making the scene more realistic and gripping. However, Hyung-wook's character is so incredibly popular that the writers can't let him go. They bring him back from the brink of death, promoting him to the gang leader in the next episode. One night, Jae-sung hears one of the many phones belonging to Hyung-wook ringing. He decides to pick up the call, surprising the person on the other end as Hyung-wook's rules typically dictate leaving a message. The voice on the line belongs to a client of Hyung-wook's, eager to know why Eun-ju's case hasn't been closed yet. When the client suggests discussing the matter in person, Jae-sung reluctantly agrees. To conceal his identity, Jae-sung dons a face mask, sunglasses, and a cap, meeting with employees of Eun-ju's old company in an abandoned building. The men are pressing for answers, wondering why Eun-ju is still alive. It's at this moment that Jae-sung has a revelation. Hyung-wook isn't a cop, but a hitman. Jae-sung takes the bag of extra money, assuring the men that he'll be in touch. This move raises suspicions with the company's boss. The boss dispatches his men to tail Jae-sung, determined to uncover where he's hiding Eun-ju. Jae-sung attempts to approach Hyung-wook to discuss this but realizes that Hyung-wook is still an amnesiac. Hyung-wook faces a challenge. He's not good at shooting romantic scenes. Seeking assistance, he turns to Rina, asking her to help by kissing him for practice. Their practice session turns into a passionate moment on the street, and the emotions experienced during the kiss become invaluable in the subsequent scene, earning the director's approval. Hyung-wook plans a picnic, taking Rina and her family for a day of fun. Meanwhile, another Thursday arrives, and Eun-ju heads to the street to wait, as usual. This time, Jae-sung approaches her, revealing the truth that the man she's waiting for won't come. To emphasize his point, Jae-sung claims to be a cop assigned to protect her, admitting he cares about her. The hug shared between them leads the spying company to suspect an affair, prompting their boss to hire someone to deal with both of them. Unable to decide on the next hitman, the company men call all four of them, unaware that these names are just aliases of Hyung-wook. As night falls and rain begins to fall, Rina stops the van at the same spot where Hyung-wook had heard the catchy tune weeks ago. The familiar combination of elements triggers Hyung-wook's memories, prompting him to bid farewell to Rina and return to his old apartment. There, he discovers numerous messages on his phone, all requesting him to eliminate Eun-ju and Jae-sung, whom Hyung-wook quickly remembers from the bathhouse and hospital encounters. On the security cameras, he witnesses Jae-sung taking Eun-ju away. Hyung-wook swiftly changes into his old clothes, reclaims his car, and follows them to an apartment recently rented by Jae-sung, who's attempting to hide from Hyung-wook and the company men. Hyung-wook then unravels the mystery surrounding his profession. He clarifies that he isn't a true assassin, rather, he orchestrates elaborate acts using fake weapons and blood. Hyung-wook's real mission is to help these apparent victims escape danger, providing them with fake documents and a chance at a new life. With a plan in mind, Hyung-wook proposes moving forward with their escape, urging Eun-ju to leave the country. When Eun-ju expresses her desire for Jae-sung to join her, Hyung-wook devises a plan for all three of them to vanish under new identities. He contacts the company men, arranging a meeting at an abandoned building where they will stage their deaths to fake their disappearances. Before heading to the rendezvous, Hyungwook bids farewell to Rina, realizing that their connection poses a threat to her safety. Rina is deeply hurt by Hyungwook's abrupt decision to cut ties for her safety but follows him as he leaves the apartment. At the abandoned building, the company men witness a shocking scene. Jae-sung appears to stab Eunju, concealing her behind a makeshift wall. He then tosses a fake pen drive at them, terminating their deal. Just as then, Hyungwook arrives, assuming the role of one of the 4 hired hitmen. A fierce battle ensues between him and Jae-sung, featuring martial arts and simulated knife attacks. The confrontation takes an unexpected turn when Rina appears, demanding an explanation. Hyungwook, trying to maintain the illusion, denies knowing her and insults her to drive her away. This only fuels Rina's anger. As she scolds him, Hyungwook signals Jae-sung to proceed with the plan. Jae-sung approaches with a knife and Hyungwook intervenes, pretending to shield Rina. In a strategic move, Eunju presses a button on a remote control. A factory container drops from above, seemingly crushing them. However, the container is hollow and they're safe inside. They then release a stream of fake blood, creating the illusion of a gruesome end. The company men, convinced of their success, leave. Jae-sung and Eunju share a heartfelt hug and a long-awaited kiss. Meanwhile, Rina leaves the building in anger and Hyungwook follows her. Hyungwook, realizing the impact of his actions on Rina, sincerely apologizes for the unexpected shock. In an effort to make amends, Rina takes him to an amusement park where his TV show is being recorded. During the movie shoot, Hyungwook is tasked with a scene where his character breaks up with his on-screen girlfriend for her safety. However, he decides to improvise, changing the script to express his desire to leave his old life behind and be with the woman he truly cares about, all while stealing glances at Rina, conveying that the words are meant for her. Overjoyed, Rina nods in acceptance of his feelings and the director approves of the spontaneous alteration, deciding to keep it in the final cut. Post-shoot, Hyungwook returns to his work at the restaurant where he has become an integral part of the family. Alongside his restaurant duties, he continues to pursue his acting career. Interestingly, when he discovers that he will be fighting an enemy in the storyline and that enemy turns out to be none other than Jae-sung, he feels a sense of delight. Don't go anywhere. Click the video on your screen to keep these wild movie recaps rolling. Smash that like button and subscribe for more insane movie adventures. I'll catch you film fanatics on the next one.